Stacy, and this is Rising Earth Farm's first YouTube video. Some people have been asking for me to start posting videos about herbs and how we use them, and even things about like growing plants in the plant nursery. So I thought we'd start and see how it goes. Today's video, the first video, is going to be sort of an unpacking of my home apothecary back here. And to me, a home apothecary is like a medicine cabinet full of herbs that you use for your family and for yourself often. So you like want to have them on hand all the time. Some kind of things that you can use to just treat like the little things every day. You know, think about everything you go through with your family. You've got headaches, you've got upset stomachs, you've got cuts and bruises, and you've got sleeplessness, and you've got burns, and just like all the little things that happen when you live with people on a farm or a homestead or even just a little apartment. It's nice to have something on hand that is all natural and that you know what's in it. You don't have to go to the store to buy it, so it's really convenient and it's really empowering. So that's what my apothecary is to me. I used to have, when I first started out with herbs, I used to have all the herbs. I collected them all the fancy ones, exotic ones from really far away. But now I just really stock the ones that I use, especially the ones that I use a lot that grow right outside my door. Either I grow them or I wildcraft them. So I hope that me going through my herbs here will kind of maybe give you a little inspiration, or maybe if you have a question, you can Google a little bit about an herb that you'd never heard about before. But otherwise, maybe it'd just be interesting to see what I've got in there. So I'm gonna start unboxing. Okay, here they are. I have them arranged sort of A to Z, so bear with me if they're not exactly A to Z. But we'll start at the top. Some of these I'll just mention and move on because either I don't use them a whole lot, or I don't know, maybe they're more specialized, or maybe they're just seeds. Sometimes I just keep seeds in there, but I will talk about the ones that I think would be of interest to you and that maybe you might want to add to your own apothecary. And speaking of, we're going to start with anise hyssop. This is a purple flower that grows on a spike, and all the aerial parts, the parts above ground, are the medicinal parts. It smells like licorice, and it is a wonderful respiratory herb, kind of like mullein. It's actually really good blended with mullein in sort of respiratory tea recipes. I sell out of this plant in the plant nursery every year. So if you haven't added it yet, add it for yourself, add it for the pollinators to your garden. So there's my only A. Next is blue butterfly pea flower. Just my first year growing it. It dyes things blue. Enough said. That's all I use it for, is dyeing tea blends blue, which is fun. Got catnip for cats and catnip for humans. It's got some medicinal properties too, so look that up. We've got chamomile. I don't grow a ton of chamomile on my farm. I don't sell any chamomile really. It's really labor intensive to harvest unless you have a special tool. So I just grow it for me and my family. I use it for like sleepy time blends, which is what most people know it for. But chamomile is also a bitter. So bitter herbs are really good for your digestive system. So say if you have an upset tummy, or a child does, because chamomile is one of a few herbs that could be used on anybody no matter what their age, even an infant. Chamomile is a really good bet for an upset stomach. So that's chamomile. Let's see, calendula. That is these beautiful sunny yellow flowers. Usually I store more than this in my apothecary because I use it so much, but it's a wonderful topical herb. I use it in salves, I infuse it in oils. It just looks beautiful after it's dried. I mean, come on, that color. it's just beautiful to have around. So grow lots of calendula if you can, and harvest those blooms all summer. The more you pick, the more that it grows. So that's calendula. Got coriander. Mostly I use this for seeds. Comfrey, I could do a whole video on comfrey and how wonderful it is. It's just the green leaves from the comfrey plant that we use. This variety is called True Comfrey that I got from Strictly Medicinal. Comfrey is a wonderful skin healer. It has allantonin, which is a chemical that speeds cell regeneration. So any sort of wound that you have, as long as it's not like a really deep wound that could get infected, like maybe a bite, like a dog bite, or some sort of stab wound. Other than that, you can use comfrey, comfrey poultices. You can make comfrey into a salve. I always have as much comfrey on hand as I can, and so much fresh still in the garden too. It's really wonderfully easy to grow. So I highly recommend comfrey for your home apothecary if you don't have it yet. This empty jar is cramp bark. I've used it all. I need to harvest more. I plan on offering seedlings in the spring for cramp bark, but it's for muscle tension, whether it's for like females during that time of the month, or even like back tension, back muscle tension. Cramp bark is a really wonderful thing. I think we're done with the C's. We could move on to D. This is just dill, dried dill. I always have a ton of it on hand. I don't use it that much, but it's good to have, especially for culinary uses. And as I go through, keep in mind that culinary herbs are medicinal herbs. We talk about this in our herb classes. Like, they have medicinal qualities. They have actions in your body. So don't think like, oh, my basils and my oreganos and my dills, they're just, to flavor food. It's not true. They're just as medicinal as some of these other like fancy herbs that we're going to talk about. So yeah, I've got dill. I think dill seed, self-explanatory, what I use that for. E, echinacea. So this is just echinacea, the aerial parts of echinacea, but really the root is most commonly used. It boosts your immune system. It kind of supercharges it. So it's great for people with like a healthy, normal immune system. People who have autoimmune disorders, you might not want to integrate something like echinacea root into your tea blends or tinctures or whatever, just because you don't want that overactive action. What you want is more of an immune system modulator, which is something like Tulsi would be wonderful instead of echinacea. But it's good to have on hand. I've also got elderberry and elderflower. I feel like you're probably really familiar with elderberry and its uses for sort of boosting your immune system during the winter months, making syrups or electuaries or whatever you want to make with elderberry. And the flowers have medicinal uses too, so I like to collect those and dry those, plus they're pretty. I've got fenugreek, which has the seeds, and it has some medicinal uses, also culinary uses. Feverfew, that's these, well, it's all the aerial parts, the leaves and the stems and the flowers, but it's a really gorgeous herb. It's gorgeous to grow. It's gorgeous once it's dried. It's good. It's got peer-reviewed research about its use treating migraines, and they used to use it to treat fevers, so a good one to have on hand. Let's see if we've gone through. I think we might be to L, maybe. That's just lavender and lavender leaf. They've got separate uses. You can see my lavender is all gone for the year. I used it, the last of it, for a customer sleepy time blend. It's wonderful in a sleepy time blend. It's a nervine, so it really, with your nervous system, it's great for just before bed. And the smell by itself also has that effect, so it's wonderful. I think we're on to M's, and there are so many M's in my medicine cabinet, and there should be in yours too because they're all wonderful. I've got a mint mix. You would think mint for tea or whatever, and yeah, it's great for that. It's also good for your digestive system. But what I use mint for most of the time is I include it in formulas that otherwise just taste really bad. So things like dandelion root, that it's hard to get people to consume. you add mint, and it makes it a little bit easier. So it's good to have some on hand. This is a mix. It's like peppermint and mountain mint and maybe a little bit of strawberry mint. So yeah, that's mint. Meadowsweet. Meadowsweet, we use the aerial parts. It is a Indiana native. I sold a lot of plants, but it didn't sell as fast as I thought it would. It's a wonderful digestive herb. And that paired with the fact that it's really easy to grow, you should consider, if you don't grow it yet, you should. And it makes really pretty flowers in addition to being really useful for your digestive system. So that's Meadowsweet, all one word. That's a great one. We also have motherwort, which you may have heard of. I sold so much of this in the plant nursery this past year. We use all the aerial parts. That's just everything from the leaves and the flowers to the stems. It smells really, really like, kind of like mugwort, a little earthy, almost a little minty. But motherwort is a wonderful heart medicine. Heart issues caused by stress or anxiety. So it's called motherwort for a reason. It's for mothers. It's for people who feel like they have the whole world on their shoulders. I like to tincture it. I like to put it in tea blends. It's just really good for like stress and anxiety, heart palpitations, that kind of thing. So if any of that sounds like you or somebody you know, consider growing and drying some motherwort for your apothecary. Still in the M's, we've got mullein leaf and mullein flower. They have two different uses. Mullein leaf I sell out of every year just because it's such a wonderful respiratory aid. People make teas out of it. I think you can smoke it. I've never tried, but that's one way to consume it. Good for acute or chronic illnesses having to do with the lungs. And then mullein flower, which is just really beautiful. But it also has medicinal uses. You can infuse it in oil, like an olive oil, maybe with some garlic, and use it as ear drops. So you get an ear infection, kid gets an ear infection, or swimmer's ear, or whatever. That is a really common herbal remedy for that, is mullein flower. The last M, I think, is mugwort. I don't personally use a lot of mugwort medicinally. I like to work with this plant. If you're into working with plants on like an energetic or spiritual level, mugwort is one. It's said to protect women and children. That's been the tradition for a couple thousand years. So I like to keep it on hand. It just feels good. Yeah, mugwort. I've got lots of others that I'll kind of just breeze through because I don't use them as much, or you might be really familiar. Self-heal, it's a native, Prunella vulgaris, really good for skin issues. Rosemary, everybody knows rosemary. It has a lot of medicinal uses. It's wonderful for memory. It's wonderful for congestion. Just grow as much rosemary as you can and read up on its uses. It's a really wonderful herb. We're skipping backwards in the alphabet for O. That's oat straw and oregano. Oregano, this is Greek oregano is what it is. And it's considered a culinary herb, but man, it has a lot of medicinal uses. People tincture it, people use it to make tea. It's a really great, it tastes great and also has those medicinal benefits, so look into those. And then oat straw. Oat straw is what's left of the plant after I harvest the milky oats, the immature oats, for my milky oats tinctures. The rest of the plant is chopped and dried, and it is very medicinal. It's got nervine actions. It kind of keeps, I don't know, it's good for your adrenal glands. It keeps everything like down a notch as far as stress and cortisol and all of that. So oat straw is good to have on hand. Easy to grow too. Okay, I think we're to all the S's now. Oh, I've got an R. That's rose. I won't talk a lot about rose, but this is just rose petals. I like to save them and dry them. I like to infuse them in oil. I like to tincture them. Rose has a lot of medicinal benefits just beyond being beautiful and being a pleasure to work with. So I would grow rose for sure and keep that in my apothecary. Sage, this is one of those, just like oregano and just like rosemary, that gets, I don't know, a reputation just for being a culinary herb that you'd sprinkle on sausage or whatever. But sage has wonderful uses for when you're ill, and it also has wonderful uses around bringing your hormones back into homeostasis. So especially for menopausal women, look into, or even post birth, look into using sage, because it's sort of a hormone modulator. It helps keep things even. Star anise, I like to use just for its taste. It has medicinal benefits, but really it's just the smell and the taste is beautiful. Spilanthes, that's also known as yellow toothache plant. It's these little yellow flower heads, basically. And if you chew them, they numb your mouth and your mucous membrane. So sort of an old-timey dentist's tool, I read. But you could imagine it's got a lot of practical applications with children who have toothaches or teeth that fall out or whatever. So that's Spilanthes. I've got one more S. Skullcap. Skullcap didn't sell as fast as I thought it would in the plant nursery. This is blue skullcap, also known as mad dog skullcap, and it is an Indiana native. So it's super easy to grow. It doesn't grow super fast. We use the aerial parts, the leaves and the flowers and the stems, and it's a nervine for going to sleep. People with insomnia, people who have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, skullcap might be a good plant ally for you and something to keep in your apothecary, and it's very easy to grow. Thyme, throw it into that category where people just think it's a culinary herb, and if I was going to suggest just a single herb to keep in your kitchen dried for the winter season, it would be thyme. You can make everything from thyme tea, infusions, tinctures. You can even infuse it in honey and make winter remedies with honey, sort of similar to fire cider, but thyme is wonderful. Well, I think we're to W's now. We're getting to the end. Let's see, I've got witch hazel leaf and witch hazel bark. My bark is empty right now. I need to harvest and dry some more, but the leaves too. Witch hazel is, it's really, really astringent. It's got a lot of tannins in it, which means it's good for healing wounds, that kind of thing. It's really easy to make your own witch hazel extract using witch hazel bark and or leaves. So it's a good one to have on hand if you use a lot of witch hazel. White horehound, it is almost as specific for sore throats and coughs. Anytime you're sick, white horehound kind of soothes all of that. You can make anything, but the most common thing that people make is like cough drops. You can make your own cough drops with white horehound. So I like to keep that on hand, especially going into winter. And it's very easy to grow in our climate, no pest issues or anything. Wild rose hips. These are from Multiflora Rose, which is like the invasive rose we have here in Indiana. But one good thing about having Multiflora Rose around is the rose hips. They're just chock full of vitamin C, which is exactly what you need in the middle of winter. So I like to blend this with pine needles into tea and drink that. It's really wonderful, but it's good. It's good to have on hand dried for your family during the winter. And that is it. And you'll maybe be thinking, like, I feel like a lot of herbs are missing. Things like valerian, ashwagandha, what else? Solomon seal, marshmallow root, borage, pine, yarrow, what else? St. John's wort, marshmallow leaf. There's a lot of stuff missing, but there's a reason why. It's either that I haven't harvested yet. Root medicine is harvested in the fall, so think about all your medicinal roots, ashwagandha, marshmallow root, Solomon seal, that kind of thing. Those things will all be harvested in fall once the plants kind of died back. We'll pull it up, I'll dry the roots, and then they'll be in my apothecary. So that explains some missing herbs that might come to your mind. But there's another explanation for some things that aren't here. Think about tulsi, think about milky oats, think about maybe lemon balm, St. John's wort. Those are all examples of herbs that I prefer to use fresh. Sometimes even the fresh versions of an herb are really the only kind that have the medicinal constituents that you want. Things like marshmallow leaf, which is really mucilaginous. It has a lot of moisture in it, and it helps kind of soothe and smooth your insides. It doesn't keep that quality if you dry it. So that's something we like to use fresh. And then there are other things here that I've got, like wild lettuce. It's got a latex in it that we use that's medicinal. So you really only want to use it fresh. Dried, the latex kind of dries up. Borage, it's very juicy. Herbs with a lot of juiciness to them. Think like borage, marshmallow, basil. A lot of the medicine is tied up in how moisturizing they are. So using them fresh might be the best. They still retain some qualities when they're dried, but sometimes you want the most bang for your buck, and maybe just use those fresh. Lemon balm I like to use fresh, and tulsi, holy basil. So you might ask, how do I use things fresh if it's the middle of winter? Well, that's the beautiful thing about making herbal extracts is you can take your fresh herbs and turn them into something like a tincture. This is a St. John's wort tincture, a tulsi tincture. You can harvest those and make sure that you retain those medicinal qualities that they had when they were fresh by preserving them. So it doesn't have to be a tincture. You could preserve them in honey. You could preserve them in apple cider vinegar. This is arnica, which a lot of people ask me about, like, do you have dried arnica? I don't, because the arnica flower you want to use fresh. So this is arnica infused in olive oil, and I use that for salves, and just the oil by itself is wonderful too. Same thing with milky oats and lemon balm. Milky oats are always tinctured fresh. They kind of lose their magic when you dry them. Lemon balm, I just prefer to use fresh. You get that viriditas is the name of just like the living green energy of something that you can really appreciate when you work with herbs that are fresh. So yeah, I think that's all. That you've seen all the jars in my apothecary. These are all the herbs that I use pretty regularly for myself or for my family, occasionally for a customer or two. But yeah, I hope something here inspired you or made you think about what you have in your own garden. And I hope that you'll stick around for the next video, maybe like once a week or every other week, something like that. Just to kind of like spark your herbal interest and share what I've been doing on the herb farm. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.